The truth. Hello? Alright everyone, hey, it's good to be back. So, I got a new camera. As you can see, it's a lot nicer, and you can see every freaking detail, every imperfection. So anyways guys, I am here to talk about this pesky, annoying thing called hyperbody awareness. A lot of people in the comments on the first PRO video that I talked about have people saying, you know, that their situation started just like mine, and that was with a hyperbody awareness, an obsession with the body, some automatic process. It's called a sensorimotor obsession. So basically, we can become conscious for any particular reason, like even in a lot of times, this will happen with people without OCD and they don't even notice it. Like, I'm sure people out there are watching this and have said, you know, I've been aware of my blinking a few times, like I've, you know, been aware of myself breathing, or, you know, the feeling of your toes being together. Just these random, discrete, and in particular sensations that our body experiences all the time, and we normally aren't aware of it. So the difference between someone who doesn't have OCD and someone who does can view this awareness with anxiety. So if we couple our awareness of these bodily sensations with any form of reactive anxiety, then we are going to continue. That thought is going to be ever present for some reason, and that reason is because his anxiety is our mind's danger alert system. Basically, it's that flight or fight response, and this stems into what I talked about in the PRO video closely. So how to deal with hyperbody awareness is very similar at how we deal with PRO thoughts and intrusive thoughts. So basically, I'll give you an example of what hyperbody awareness really is. For me, I experience it sometimes every day. Sometimes once a week, sometimes not for a month, and sometimes I'll have an incident of it for a long time. Like I'll have it all day long or for a couple hours at a time, maybe even a couple days. So it could be blinking, it could be breathing, your heartbeat. I know that the heartbeat was a particularly common one for people who have been experiencing PRO. I know for me, when I first had PRO, it all started with a hyperbody awareness. So it's important to understand this. This can really help you in your process of growing and getting over PRO in general. So this can really help you to understand the underlying, I'm not saying it's the root of PRO, but the underlying cause, potentially, or something that might have triggered your PRO. I've read things where it's even like you can see your nose kind of when you're reading, and for me particularly, it's my breathing. So I will sometimes suddenly become aware of my breathing, and I don't know why. What I say is that how this begins is that you have your first experience with the hyperbody awareness, and then if you attach anxiety to that for some reason, you think, oh no, something's wrong with that sensation. Some irrational thought comes to your mind and says, okay, oh no, like I'm thinking about my heartbeat, there's something wrong with it. What if I never can stop thinking about it? What if I'm forever obsessing about my heartbeat and I never feel the same again, you know? So that is how it starts. Then you're gonna be like, okay, so that was freaky. And then the next time you do have a thought about one of your bodily sensations, like you're like blinking or like floaters in your eyes, it could be anything that is natural and automatic bodily process. Then the next time you have one of those thoughts about your bodily process, you're gonna remember, okay, I had that anxiety about it, oh no, it will probably come back. And that is how the cycle continues. It can become a vicious cycle. It can become debilitating, and that's not what we want. There's nothing wrong with your bodily processes, but it feels that way in our minds because of lack of understanding why we are thinking about them and irrational reaction to them, a form of anxiety that we come up with in our head about this form of awareness. So that is the key, the key of solving this, is to experience hyperbody awareness without reactive anxiety. You need to learn to welcome these sensations And it's going to be difficult because we're used to that, oh no, like that feeling, that fight or fight response, that anxiety response in our mind. There's danger, you know, I can't stop thinking about it now, it's going to get worse or something. You know, that is what we need to stop. So the next time you have a hyper body awareness situation come up, if you suddenly become aware of your breathing or your blinking or your toes or your nose or your hand, whatever it is that you experience, welcome that in with as much normalcy and love as possible, because it is your body and it is doing what it's supposed to do. Our bodies know how much air we need. We know how many times we need to blink. We don't need to think about it. But the thing to remember then is just because you are does not mean there is anything wrong. It does not mean that you won't stop thinking about them. That is irrational. So the key here is to be as rational and calm as possible when we experience these things. So the next time you suddenly start to have a hyper body awareness incident or symptom, just allow yourself to experience the sensations, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if we want to have anxiety, even if we want to be negative about it somehow. Try to abstain from that, because that is the only way we will get over this. And I can tell you right now that I still experience hyper body awareness. I do. I genuinely do. I had a bad stint with it sometime last month. I'll start to control my breathing. I'll start to take deep breaths, more than I need to, and I'll just start to I'll be like, you know, it feels like I need to breathe way more than I need to. And so then I'll actually start to have hyperventilation. I'll actually start to feel like I can't breathe. That's why I mentioned it can become a vicious cycle, and you can literally start to feel like you do have something wrong with you, and it's all a fallacy, it's all made up. It is literally your mind. It's very similar to PRO. Think of it as a PRO, intrusive thought, some fake made up thing in our minds that we're worried about happening. But instead, it's an actual physical, real thing happening, but we're just being irrational about it, and that's the negative thing. Another thing that I want to read on this site called beyondocd.org, and it's a really good site to check out. I don't recommend randomly going and Googling things and just reading everything on every site and taking it all into heart. Take everything you read with a grain of salt, because clearly there's accurate information out there and there is not so accurate information. The reason we are experiencing this is because the mind clearly does not want us to forget about any danger that may be lurking around. If a particular idea scares us, we tend to think about it over and over. In sensory obsessions, sufferers repeatedly attempt to shift their attention for fear that their sensory focus will become stuck, and they will not be able to concentrate fully on the task at hand. Here, the thought that I'm never going to stop thinking about this, like I mentioned, leads to immediate fears of impaired functioning, and only furtherly spurs the thoughts again. It's like a hamster wheel, and the thoughts repeat. And the mind will hold on tightly to the very awareness that the sufferer is attempting to rid. So if we try our best to ignore these sensory obsessions, it's not going to work. If your mind is fixated on something, let it be. Just like I said in my PRO follow-up video, we have to let the thoughts come in smoothly and go out smoothly. Because if we actively try to rid ourselves of this hyper bodily awareness, it's going to make it worse, and it's not going to work. So I want you guys to understand that this is another rather obscure and difficult form of OCD, not something a ton of people experience. I could be wrong about that, but it's something that is not tangible, yet again, something that you can't stop yourself from doing physically. That is the key to understand here. It is something we must learn to cope with and accept within ourselves and in our mind. It's a mind over matter situation, yet again. Okay, so another recommendation that I have would be to do a body scan. So this is a form of mindfulness. A body scan is where we start from our head to and go all the way down to our toes, and we observe our bodies functioning and living healthily as they do every day. And so this is a form of mindfulness where we can invite in this hyper awareness instead of having it just come and then us not knowing what to do. And so what you do is just think about the hairs slowly growing out of your scalp, the sound waves radiating into your ears, from the moisture each blink gives your eyes, to the sensation of your tongue moving in your mouth to create the words that we speak every day, to the heart beating all of the blood throughout your body, and then all the way down to how your feet rest so flushly together and allow us to walk every day. So if we think about these sensations in a mindful way and realize how precious they are and just how beautiful they are and natural, and just that makes us us, then that will help you to fluidly move from one awareness to the other. And that is normally what we do. You know, we aren't normally fixated on one thing about our bodies. If we are self-aware, we typically will be able to fluidly move from sensation to sensation and without any anxiety, and realize that we can let go, and we'll be able to let go, and that will help you learn to welcome these sensations in. And if you don't know how to do that, start with those body scans and just let yourself truly love yourself and observe every single thing that's going on within your body at that given moment. It will truly help with this hyper body awareness issue. And if you guys have any more questions or concerns or anything you want to talk about, or if it's something I didn't cover about this, totally let me know. Let me drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll totally make another video. I'm really excited to continue this journey with YouTube, and I am going to be doing so much more. There is so much to come. Just stay tuned.